I believe we are live. What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Talk podcast. But today we are here with the live stream because a lot is going on since around 2:45 p.m. The Eagles agreed to terms with linebacker Darius Shaq Leonard, 1-year deal. Howie Roseman was able to get it done. I don't know what he saw that made him want to come to Philly after that ass whooping we got. However, he will help. Is he going to save the day? No, because the scheme got exposed big time versus the 49ers. We're going to talk about it all. But before we do that, shout out to Notification Gang, Flybirds, Live Direct, Mikey T, Philly Eagles, Primetime, Stephen Joyce, Miss Ash, D Luna. Shout out to everybody who got that bell rang. Play the intro.
This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike. Talking sixes in the bird gang, that's our life. Competition, we ain't scared, yeah, that's what we like. Win or lose, you know we showing up and we gon' fight. You see we strive for the sky every day that go by. And every single week we screaming fly, Eagles fly. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah.
As I said, this ain't going to change everything, but it's good to get another body at linebacker in the building because our linebackers got exposed, including Nicholas Morrow, who gave up 175 yards in pass coverage. We're going to break it all down, but before we do that, Eagle Nation, if you're watching now, help your boy out and hit that like. If you're watching on the rerun, hit the like. Also, turn on the notification bell after being subscribed so you could be here with the $140 who got that bell rung. Once again, the Eagles have came to terms on a 1-year deal with linebacker Shaq Leonard. Now, there's more that we're going to talk about too, right? I want to get a little bit out the way real quick because Zack Ertz could be coming home. I want to get your takes on what Leonard brings, if Zack Ertz will come home. But let's get out the news first for the people watching this on a rerun before we have the conversation and pull up the chat. Jeremy Fowler, while the Eagles have wrapped up Shaq Leonard deal, they also inquired on an old friend, Zack Ertz, who is still evaluating options at this time per sources. So Jeremy Fowler reporting that Zack Ertz has been reached out to by the Eagles. He's still thinking it over, and Shaq Leonard had to think it over. We can respect Zack Ertz thinking it over too. Maybe he knows it's the last time he could get paid unless he comes to Philly just to be like, hey, might as well retire there. Might as well come and help him out, try to get a Super Bowl, and we're going to need all the help we can get. More than Zack Ertz, more than Shaq Leonard, we're going to need help from the coaching staff. But again, Thomas R. Peterson tweeted, Eagles already signed Shaq Leonard to a 1-year deal, and they've also inquired about Zack Ertz. Look at Ertz' recent like history. So again, Zack Ertz recently liked, as you can see here, my mouse, the like button was hit on Adam Schefter's tweet talking about added help to the Eagles linebacker room. Well, we might just need to add Zack Ertz for help to the offensive room because both were horrible. Both were horrible. And again, this is a live stream, not a video for any first-time users. We're going to bring up the chat and talk about everything. But let's look at a little bit of what our cornerbacks did because it wasn't the whole defense. According to Eagle Nation, James Bradbury did not allow a single reception or yard to any of his coverage assignments against the 49ers. He was never even targeted. So guys that faced up against James Bradbury didn't get open or didn't get targeted. 0 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards via PFF. Let's go a little deeper, right? So Bradbury allows that. They're talking about the Zack Ertz stuff. Cool. Let's come up and pull up this Darius Slay coverage. So Slay in coverage versus the Niners. 33 total coverage snaps. He was targeted 3 times, allowed 3 receptions, but for only 32 yards. He was the Eagles' leading tackler for the game with 5. What? We've heard Slay on his podcast. He don't like to tackle. If he's the leading tackler, what are our linebackers doing? What are our safeties doing? What are the safeties that were asked to go play in the box doing if Slay is our leading tackler? It's ridiculous. Again, Bradbury, 0 targets, 0 receptions for 0 yards, and Slay only gave up 3 for 32. Let's go further and see where things went wrong. Nicholas Morrow's coverage stats against the 49ers. He was targeted 8 times, 6 catches allowed, 175 yards, and 2 touchdowns, a 30.7 game grade via PFF. And guess who scored both them touchdowns on Nicholas Morrow? It was Deebo Samuels. Again, why are we stretching our linebacker core out? Why? I understand you need tacklers because Deebo's not going to route you up and catch a deep ball. Not saying he can't, but he didn't. It was all throws 5 yards, 2 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards in the middle of the field. Whether it's Kittle, Deebo, Juszczyk, McCaffrey, they were getting yards after the catch. Biggest play of the game, one of the biggest ones, is a missed tackle by Nicholas Morrow, chased down by Darius Slay, not before he gets a touchdown. That being said, Nicholas Morrow's worst game. Nicholas Morrow is being asked to do too much. Sean Desai can't ask Nicholas Morrow to do that. You got Bradbury, you got Slay, you got other people that can maybe move over and play in the slot play. You can't allow Kyle Shanahan to motion, and get the matchup he wants. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which guy's going to motion onto Nicholas Morrow? Let's go. Exploited him. Now, we're going to bring up the comment section because I got to hear from y'all. I rewatched the condensed version. I haven't fully listened to the players talk in the locker room. I didn't want to hear what Hurts had to say. Didn't want to hear what Nick Sirianni had to say. Then they talked to Fletch and other guys. I think they talked to Bradbury. I did see a clip on Twitter about Bradbury saying, Sean Desai put us in some bad situations, so it's being talked about by their players. Bradbury, who's not a trash talker or a person that makes things go awry, but he said the play calling left us out there to dry a little bit. But let's take a look real quick at the 314 passing yards from Brock Purdy. 4 tubs, 300 plus yards on this Eagles defense. After, remember, I was pumping my chest talking about 2 possessions, 6 plays, -5 yards. What happened? Anyways, Purdy 314, 4 touchdowns. Let's break it down, or let's hear what Eagle Nation has to say. Morrow, 175 for 2 touchdowns. Eli Ricks, only 44 yards and a touchdown, but I clearly remember Eli Ricks getting toasted on big 3rd downs. So it's not about how much Eli Ricks got toasted. It was, when in doubt, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10. You need a 1st down. Go target Morrow. Go target Eli Ricks. I clearly remember that. Christian Ellis gave up 33 yards, no touchdown. Slay, 32 yards. Roby, only 15 yards. But I remember Bradley Roby getting ran over by Brock Purdy. He ain't get ran over by a reindeer like Grandma did, but I remember Bradley Roby getting ran over by Brock Purdy. It was just one of them days we couldn't tackle. Anyways, Reddick was in coverage and gave up 9 yards. Byard gave up 4 yards. Blankenship only gave up 2 yards but a touchdown. This is via PFF, and the day that Brock Purdy had. Now, again, this main video, even though I'm complaining because there's a lot to complain about, is about him. So the 400 people that just jumped in here, we opened up this live stream that the Eagles did agree to terms. We heard reports by Brian Baldinger that Darius Shaq Leonard was leaning toward the Cowboys. Well, guess what? He watched the Cowboys beat Seattle. He watched the Eagles lose to the Niners. And maybe he believes he can help this Eagles team out because according to Brian Baldinger, who doesn't make stuff up, he was leaning towards Cowboys. And I don't know what he saw. Maybe he thinks he can come and play right away. But we need him. Is he going to save us? Probably not. But will he help us? Yes. And if he could somehow bring in that inner all-pro back, it'd be much needed. Much needed. Another thing is Zack Ertz. We reached out to Zack Ertz. He's thinking about it, but there's a good chance he comes because he did like the whole Darius Leonard signing and blah, blah, blah. We going to talk about it. I want to hear from you guys in the chat. Let's go. Shout out to everybody in here. We've been live for about 10 minutes. I had to get my sequiltry or whatever you call that out about how bad it was. And look, we going to talk about the Niners and Eagles game. I'm not going to brush it over, but I got a lot of stuff I've been saving for the video, And the video was going to get worked on as soon as I got home today. But breaking news, Shaq Leonard to the Eagles. So I said, why do a video about the Niners when everybody want to talk about Shaq Leonard now? So we went live on Monday. Tuesday at 8 o'clock, we're going to drop the video, talk about Jalen Carter crying, calling out fans, not just Eagle fans, but other fans. A lot going on. And I was DM'd a couple interviews, like what Fletch had to say. I'm going to save that for the video. We're not going to just go on the Eagles website and listen to all that. I want to hear from you guys as it pertains to what's going on. Raw Artist said MVP is not Purdy award. Purdy fell into a great situation minus Jimmy G. You can almost put anybody back there and they're going to win. I mean, look, we've seen Purdy do good. We've seen Garoppolo do good. So you could think that. But I also seen a couple quarterbacks do bad with the Niners, right? When Jimmy G was getting hurt, they had the Brandon Hoyers. They had the Blaine Gabberts. They had the quarterback that is a D+, C- not be able to get it done. So I can't look at Brock Purdy and disrespect what he's done after he dropped 300 yards on his Eagles defense after struggling for 2 possessions, looking scared. He just said, not today. Bada bing, bada boom. I can't disrespect Purdy. I can't disrespect anybody on the Niners after watching last night's game. Now, things can change throughout the season, and whoever's going to the Super Bowl has to go through the Niners. Hopefully, if we do what we need to do this week, coming up against Dallas, in Dallas, where they have won double digits in a row, if we play the Niners again, they're coming back to Philly. Because I don't want to go to San Fran after seeing what they did to us in Philly. Trey, what's going on with you? Jeffrey King said, why wasn't the pass interference against Quez? I didn't like that call either. I showed you guys on my phone. It was an ugly call. But let me ask you guys, signing Shaq Leonard, first thing I want to say is the people who watched my video saw that Brian Baldinger did say that he was leaning towards the Cowboys. Give me your reasoning why he picked the Eagles, and give me a ranking from 1 to 10. How much is Shaq Leonard going to help this team? We hear the back issues. He's still a good player. I don't know if he's going to play all pro for the next 4 to 5 weeks. I wish he would, but I won't bet it. But will he help us out? Will he relieve some of the linebackers that we are getting cooked on our team? Give me a ranking from 1 to 10, and also give me your reasoning why you think he signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. Spa City Chop, what's going on with you, my guy? What's it called? Rasheed Brown said Bradbury ain't give up a pass yesterday. Yes, salute to James Bradbury, who also called out Sean Desai a little bit. He literally said that there were some play calls that put us in a horrible situation. Not just saying Bradbury, but the communication went from good, getting better, to absolutely horrible. The communication failed big time versus the Niners, and it was most needed versus the Niners because of the emotion and the psychological games that Kyle Shanahan plays. Let's go with Young Mello. He said a 6 or 7, lowest is 5. Miss Ash said Shaq sees him playing a lot in Philly. I hear you. Sherry Collins said I'll give it a 10. I mean, that's very, very, what's the word? Don't know the word, but hey, I mean, hopefully he provides 10 rankings for us, especially against this Dallas Cowboys team. Mikey T said he signed with the Eagles because he's going to start instead of backing up in Dallas. I don't know. I think he would have been able to not maybe start, but play a lot of snaps because they don't really like Marquise Bell, who's a safety playing linebacker because they're thin. LVE is injured. LVE was their starter early in the season. Micah Parsons does a lot of his work on the defensive line. So I thought he would have started as well in Dallas, but he's definitely going to be the main attraction until Zach Cunningham gets back. And again, maybe we're not getting cooked if Cunningham is out there. But again, the reason he was available in the offseason is due to the fact that he stay injured. So, bringing in a guy like Shaq Leonard is all we could do at this point defensively. There's not guys out there sitting around saying, hey, pick me, pick me. We lucked into the situation due to the fact that he wanted out from the Indianapolis Colts, and by no means is the Colts in a position to try to win games this year. Selena G said yesterday loss was horrendous. You and me both. Man, I tried to watch the condensed version just to see some of the things that I missed doing the play-by-play and sipping Crown Rizzy, and it was bad. Bad. TMP said we need 86. Hey, 86 might be coming home again. Would he have changed what transpired yesterday? Probably not. But at his age, we're not asking him to save the day. We're asking him to come in and move the chains once in a while consistently. You know what I mean? Once in a while consistently, and especially if Dallas Goedert gets nicked up again or again or again, you don't know. You can never be certain of the future. He's looked to be getting better, but who knows? 187 said Debo's a dog. I mean, he ran through the defense. Nicholas Morrow allowed a $175 and 2 tubs. Both touchdowns were scored from Deebo Samuels. Why? Here's my thing. All the motion that Kyle Shanahan does, it's understandable that he would trick Sean Desai in a play call and get Deebo matched up with Nicholas Morrow one time. But after he matched you up on a linebacker versus wide receiver, after you got beat once, how did it happen again and again and again? Now, all 6 catches were Deebo, but 175 yards? The tackling was a big issue, and that's not fully coaching, but that's just, you just getting outworked. Nick Sirianni talking about the fundamentals. I watched a little bit of today's Nick Sirianni thing prior to coming on here, but look, the players had a lot to say, and I want to break it down in the video for sure, so make sure you stay tuned. Listen, hit that like button. There's not much you can feel good about right now, and y'all saw me yesterday sipping on that Crown, upset, but it's not going to detract me from believing that this Eagles team has something special, but also has legit problems that need to be fixed. I think the way the Niners played us, balance attack, a lot of motion, get the ball into your playmakers' hands. Don't attack the Eagles down the field, which they didn't. They weren't throwing 30-yard strikes on the outside at the numbers. Bradbury didn't get targeted at all. But guess who got targeted? Christian Ellis, Eli Ricks, Nicholas Morrow, the intermediate middle of our defense, which was trash. I seen Kittle catch the ball for 3 yards. McCaffrey catch the ball for 3 yards. Debo, 3 yards. And them 3-yard catches turned into 15 to 20-yard gains. 15 to 20 yards. What happened to this bend don't break? What happened to keeping everything in front of you? When Debo catches it for 3 yards, 5 yards, tackle him. Ain't nobody want to tackle. When Darius Big Play Slay leads your team in tackles, something is wrong. And it's nothing against him, but he told you in his podcast multiple times, he don't like to tackle. That's what the linebackers, the defensive ends, the safeties, because we use some safeties. Sidney Brown was in the box. Reed was in the box. Reed made some tackles. But everybody else get ran through. Now, again, could this be a blimp on the radar? Maybe. Am I overreacting? Maybe. 42-19 is not pretty, but you do look at the Eagles at 10-2 and feel like we still got the best record. Now, that can change next week against the Dallas Cowboys, who we can't allow beat us. Then you're talking about 10-3, 10-3, and the remainder of the season's up in the air. Is the number 1 seed going to go to Dallas? Is the number 1 seed going to go to Philly? Is the number 1 seed going to go to the Niners? Now, I don't know the Niners' remaining schedule, but the Dallas Cowboys have a harder schedule than we do post our game. So the Eagles and Cowboys match up Sunday night or Monday night, one of these nights next week for first place of the NFC East. However, their remaining 4 is the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions, and the Commanders. And ours is the Seahawks that got flexed to a Monday night game. The Giants, the Cardinals, the Giants. Can't take any team for granted, though. Kevin said our backup has been mediocre all year. Our back end has been mediocre all year. You're right. The back end has been mediocre all year. We're in the bottom 20s of yards per game allowed via the pass. However, versus the Niners, Slay only allowed 32 yards. Bradbury only allowed 0 yards. It was the middle of our field. The middle, the linebackers. More than half of Purdy's yards came against Nicholas Morrow via PFF. Robert Dredden said 13 wins will win the NFC. Seahawks will give the 49ers trouble next week, and they still have to play the Ravens. Philly, we good. Yes, look, at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to win home field advantage throughout the playoffs and to get that number 1 spot, meaning you get a bye week, which is much needed due to the health, right? Jalen Hurts missing some snaps in the game. Dallas Goedert still hurt. Maybe that prevails Avonte Maddox return for the divisional round. Who knows? All I know is that we have to focus our energy on getting that number 1 spot, and that starts with taking care of business in Dallas against the Cowboys, who we beat them in Philly, but the Dallas Cowboys record in Dallas is different. We're going to have to flush this. Now, I'm going to talk about the Niners one more time in tomorrow's video because I want to go off of what Bradbury was saying and Fletch and some of these key responses that I either totally agree or totally disagree with. But the Eagles did get exposed defensively. We also didn't look really good offensively. Brian Johnson gave the ball to DeAndre Swift 6 times. 6 times. Kenneth Gainwell ran the ball more. DeAndre Swift touched the ball 6 times. I heard Nick Sirianni today talking about we definitely understand that we got to run the ball more. I don't think you really understand it if you continue not to do it. Again, the loss is not even a full 24 hours away. So I am still frustrated. However, I'm going to hold on to the fact that the Eagles got a 10-2 record. I'm going to hold on to the fact that sometimes a loss like this wakes up a team. Let's look at the Dallas Cowboys, for instance. Since losing to the Niners 42-10, they played better. Maybe this loss, week 13, was just the loss we needed to play week 14, 15, 16, 17 to our standard. When there's still one more game of importance. That Niners game was on some revenge and on some let's knock them out because they've been talking trash. But let's believe this. The Cowboys game is far more important than the Niners game was for a couple reasons. It's more important now because we lost to the Niners. But it's also important because we might see a Cowboys team. We might see a Niners team on our route to the Super Bowl. And there are things that got to be cleaned up. That just opens our eyes to say, man, do we got to wake up and smell the coffee on both offense and defense? The only thing you could really say in that game was the special teams was pretty good. Punt team was pretty good. That's about it. Robert Dredden with the $5 super chat. Like Kermit said to Ace Boogie and paid in full. 49ers, we gonna step for now, but we gonna see you again. I love that analogy. And I talked about it in my live play-by-play when I was sipping that Crown Rizzy, right? I remember in 2009, the Arizona Cardinals played the Philadelphia Eagles in the regular season. And what did we do to the Cardinals? Bang! We punched them in the mouth. We beat them 40-20-something. We beat them by 20 points. Fast forward that season, Eagles and Cardinals in the NFC Championship, and the Cardinals beat us. So best believe the Niners punished us this time, but we'll see them again, and we will come with a different game plan. Maybe they don't just get the lucky bounces, the lucky calls, and that's not why we lost, because they bullied us for sure. But maybe things bounce a little different. Maybe Shaq Leonard has something to say about it, right? Maybe we got Shaq Leonard playing good ball come playoff times. Maybe we got Zack Ertz in the game where he's not the main attraction, but a crucial 3rd and 9 Ertz, one hand, moves those chains and changes the complexion of a football game for the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe that stuff happens. We blew out the Cardinals. They beat us when it count. That's what we gonna need to do. But I'm with you, Robert Drennan. $5 super chat. 88 Riggy with the $5 banger. Make sure you take care of them, and we'll take care of them for you, the Dallas Cowboys, because the Dolphins will play them in 3 weeks. Beating us in Miami, bleep them Cowboys. 88 said they not beating them in Miami. I respect that, and we gonna need you to do that, do the dang thing for sure. Now, I still want to handle them ourselves, but for further help, I'm rooting for you guys 1,000%. Selena G with the $5 super chat. Cowboys fans laughing now, but they should have hoped we won against the 49ers. We are now mad and fitting to take it out on them. Redhead stepchild beaten. Yes, this is what we call a red-headed stepchild beaten. The Eagles in the last 2 years have never lost back-to-back games. We don't lose back-to-back games. Lost to the Commanders, won the next game. Lost to the Jets, won the next game. Lost to the Niners, we about to win the next game. Now, especially in which the way we lost to the Niners, the Cowboys fans shouldn't be all excited about that. I totally agree with you, Selena. Real quick, though, shout out to everybody who just dropped the super chat. Again, we got another jersey giveaway coming up on December 18th. This will be the 4th jersey giveaway. Both 88 Riggy, Robert Dredden, and Selena G both get 5 entries into this new jersey giveaway. Salute to y'all for sure. May the best man or lady win. Deborah said the Eagles will take it out on those cow turds. I'm with you with that exactly. You and Selena thinking the right way. Steven said there was a ton of money to be lost by having the Eagles lock it up, but I don't buy into the league sponsor stuff. Refs' incompetence like the last 2 minutes of Green Bay versus Kansas City last night is another story. So, yeah, I didn't like some of the calls, but when you get beat 42-19, you can't blame the refs. Yes, I didn't like some of the calls. Yes, I thought they were letting everybody play. Yes, it looked a little atrocious at times. But when you can't tackle, when you can't guard the middle of the field, when you can't get off the field on 3rd down, and when you can't keep your own quarterback upright and or get first downs, you're going to lose. I can't look at what the Niners did and say anything wrong. Right now, they whooped us. They were the better team yesterday. But the paper still says the Eagles are the better team in general. Can't blame the referees when you lose by 20. Maybe a pass interference call changes a thing here and there. But we got bodied. We got bullied. We got outmatched, out-physicaled, out-coached. They beat us. Ernie said the Eagles' biggest problem is the Eagles as the other team. The Eagles' biggest problem is the Eagles as other teams have lost their all of the Eagles. I don't really understand that. They lost their all. That's our biggest problem. No, we've continued to shoot ourselves in the foot. And in that game, we just played out of our element. We weren't ready. Niners were. Raw Artist said 42-19 ain't got shit to do with the refs. That's facts. 42-19 is way beyond the refs. That's a ass whooping. And we got to take that on the chin for real. Robert Drennan said, I remember when we beat the 49ers 40-8 back in 1994, and then they won the Super Bowl. So don't put too much into this game, y'all. There you go. Again, until the Eagles are officially out of the playoffs or lose a playoff game, right? Like, this team is always able to respond on heavy adversity, right? What does Howie Roseman do? Look, as the general manager for the Philadelphia Eagles, you can't do much after an ass whooping like that. You can't. The coaches can get in the lab, the players can get in the lab, but the GM can't do much except for this. Go out and get some more players for the team. The only thing Howie Roseman can do is sign a Shaq Leonard, is maybe sign a Zack Ertz. And so, after the biggest ass whooping of the Philadelphia Eagles 2022 and 2023 season, the general manager starts at the top by responding. He goes out there and gets a Shaq Leonard. He's trying to get a Zack Ertz. And that's not going to just be the end-all, be-all, no. But if our general manager's in the lab trying to help this team as best as he can, we need Nick Sirianni, Sean Desai, Brian Johnson to do exactly the same thing on their end. Jalen Hurts. The offense hasn't been scrutinized as much as the defense for this loss, but they weren't good either. Not at all. Eric said play calling basic as hell. I can't disagree with you there. I totally agree. But I think in this game, execution, play calling, there was a lot bad. I think there's enough blame to go around to everybody. Everybody. Offensively and defensively. CW Gearhead with the $20 super chat. Sirianni needs to get his head out his rear end and get on his coordinator. Howie isn't afraid to move off of winning coaches. If things don't change, I see another Doug Peterson situation. That is something that could be talked about if we end up losing this season in an epic proportion. You know, we going from 10-1 to now not in first place, to losing in a wild card game, losing in the divisional round. Like, you can't come off the season we had, making the moves we did, and lose anywhere in the playoffs. Like, you got to get back to the Super Bowl. NFC Championship game at its least. Trust and believe. I don't want to lose in the NFC Championship game. Once you get that far, there's no going back. We need to get to the Super Bowl. We need to finish it. But there are some real problems that we've noticed about all year. We've noticed the little things that we want Brian Johnson to get better. We've noticed the little things that Sean Desai does good one game and does bad. Bradbury don't talk out of his, you know what? I didn't see the whole Bradbury interview, but somebody DM'd me the clip of him saying, Sean Desai put us in some bad situations. Pretty much just like that. James Bradbury, let's go look at what James Bradbury allowed. We want to talk about people, right? Let's actually look real quick. Hold on 1 second. For the people that just getting in here now, if you watch this on the rerun, you'll see we talked about it early. But let's take a look. Nicholas Morrow, 8 targets, 6 catches, $175, 2 touchdowns. Both touchdowns were scored on Nicholas by Deebo Samuel. Slay only allowed 32 yards on 3 catches, 3 targets on 33 coverage snaps. But the Bradbury trash, and yes, he's been beat throughout this year for sure. But he came into this game saying, look, they were talking trash on me. He didn't allow a single reception or yard to any of his coverage assignments against the Niners. He was never even targeted. So who's to say that maybe he ain't locked these guys up? Because Brock Purdy said, why I got to go out there and pass it to the guy who's in front of James Bradbury when Nicholas Morrow is getting matched up on Deebo, when Eli Ricks is getting matched up on Kittle and Deebo. Like, they took advantage of the middle of the field. And yes, Slay and Bradbury have been beaten throughout the year. Yes, the back end has been a problem throughout the year. That's why we're ranked like 26, 27, 25th in overall yards per game via the secondary. But yesterday, it was the middle of the field. Middle of the field. Trash. He'll be in the middle of the field now. Hopefully we get Zach Cunningham back sooner rather than later. Zach Cunningham has a hamstring strain. We need him. He was probably our best tackler. And what was one of the reasons we lost? Can't tackle. Now, to what level can he tackle? To what level can he contribute due to them back issues? We will see. Please bring that all-pro to here, which I'm not banking on because he wasn't playing as an all-pro in Indy. But you never know what can transpire. I'm just glad that we're doing something about something. And it starts with, that's all Howie Roseman can do. Now the players and the coaches got to get it right. Peter Riley said, Nate, man, those 6 touchdowns hurt. 6 touchdowns. back to back to back. Give credit to the Niners. They were the better team in almost every aspect. More physical. Play call was nice. The execution. Brock Purdy threw for 314. Lordy, lordy, lord. I'm watching that condensed version, just trying to see some of the bad things we did. And I'm like, don't look. I gotta look. Don't look. I gotta look. It was like a tug of war of what should I do? Wasn't fun watching it. Raw Artist said, decide not putting them in advantageous positions. That's something that came straight out of James Bradbury's mouth. The guy who actually had the best game in the secondary versus the Niners is the guy who's opening his mouth about the advantageous positions that are not being rewarded to this Eagles defense. And again, the secondary communication was off big time. The motion had him saying, which way did he go? Which way did he go? Big time. 273 said, why is Ricks in a slot? I'm trying to figure out that same thing, bro. Cool P19 said, can Nolan Smith play linebacker? I mean, at this point, what do you got to lose? I don't know how he'll be in coverage snaps, but it can't get any worse than what we saw last night. I appreciate you, Peter Riley. Major Payne said maybe he wasn't playing like an all-pro because he wanted out. Great point. Again, Brad, we've seen a lot of people leave their situation and go to a new situation and play better. All I know is it's a low risk, high reward. It's a 1-year deal. And guess what? The 1 year we're signing him is what? What we got left? 4 weeks of football and then playoffs. If he can muster up his best play in this little sample size, it's going to get him a contract from another team next year as it helps our defense prevail. Will he play versus the Dallas Cowboys? I don't know. We got, what's his name? Kevin Byard on a Tuesday, and he played that following week. We play a night game. We picked him up on Monday. He might be able to play. Steven N. said almost every single Super Bowl team since the early 2000s has had a blowout loss. Only 3 teams did not have it happen. Yeah, look. Wait, do we get blown out in 17? What, did we get blown out in 17? I don't remember getting blown. We didn't get blown out last year. I know that. We didn't win the Super Bowl as well, though, but we made it. I'm awake. Are you? Said, oh, he's playing. I would agree too. Josh said, can we make it to the Super Bowl with these coordinators? I mean, we made it to the Super Bowl last year with Jonathan Gannon. So anything is possible. And again, I do think Sean Desai has had some good games, but this was one of his worst games. Not only via me watching it and seeing 6 consecutive touchdowns, but the players starting to talk about it is not a good thing, a good sign to come as well. All that being said, we look at Shane Steichen, right, as a so much better play caller. And yeah, situationally he was. I didn't really question Shane as much as I'm continuously questioning Brian Johnson. But I've seen him do some decent stuff. But I've seen him do some ugly stuff. The schedule is harder. The Chiefs are a top 7 defense. The Bills are a top 7 defense. The Niners are a top 7 defense. So the last 3 games we played were against top 7 defenses. That's not an excuse. I still want to score in the first half. I still want to see my offense go against top defenses and win. But to his credit, Shane Steichen didn't go against top 10 defenses much last year. Why? Because we didn't play the Niners in the regular season. We didn't play the Chiefs. We didn't play the Bills. Cowboys defense was good. We put up some points on them. Right now, I would trust Shane Steichen over Brian Johnson, for sure. Just off a general principle, the fact that he just doesn't, Shane will run the ball. Run the ball, indeed he will. And that's what I don't like. But here's what I'm trying to say. The Philadelphia Eagles will not fire Sean Desai and or Brian Johnson this year. If we end up losing in the playoffs early, I could see a scenario where they fire a Sean Desai and or Brian Johnson in the offseason. But when it's week 14, you're still in first place, you're not firing your coordinators for a loss, even if the loss is 42-19. No matter what we want, it's not happening this season. We're either going to win in the playoffs or lose in the playoffs with who and what we have on this team. That's just the bottom line. Not because I said it, because Stone Cold. Nah, I'm just kidding. It is what it is. Could they take away some of Brian Johnson's play call responsibility and divvy it out to a Kevin Patullo, a Nick Sirianni? Yes, but we don't know how much better or worse that will be. And again, we need to get as much consistency as possible. And we will have some games. Seattle's defense is food. Here's my thing. Chiefs, Niners, Bills, top 7 defense. Guess who else has a good defense? The Cowboys. Although the 49ers, yes, the 49ers, but also the Seahawks kind of exposed the Cowboys defense, although the Cowboys were able to win the game. That being said, Cowboys got a top 10 defense. We have one more of them. But before we go to the playoffs, we're going against the Seahawks, who are a decent team, but their defense is ranked in the 20s. Giants, they can play defense, but they just trash. Cardinals, trash. So we're going to have some games where we can put up some points and build some consistency in this offense prior to getting a bye week or playing our first playoff game. And it sucks that we got to ask for that, but we did go through a tough stretch. Like, let's rewind this real quick. Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills. Got motorcycles just flying by my crib. Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, Niners. That's a 4-game stretch. If I asked you, what will the Eagles be in the 4-game stretch? If I told you 3-1, would you have been happy? Now, maybe you're not happy because of who we lost to and how we lost to, and I'm not happy either, at all. But if I could rewind this stream, we got the Cowboys this week, then we got the Chiefs, the Bills, the Niners. What y'all think we're going to go? Now, some of y'all would have said 4-0, and respect to the gangster of believing in this team. But 3-1, I would have signed up for it. I wouldn't have signed up to it for the simple fact that we beat the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Cowboys, and the way it was going, it was like, okay, now the Niners are coming, and let's handle business. Did we beat the Chiefs and the Bills and the Cowboys the way we really want to beat a team? Oh, we blew them out. We just demolished them. No. But the Chiefs might be representing the AFC in the playoffs. In the Super Bowl. The Bills are just an overall decent team that can put up points and play defense. The Cowboys are a top 3 team in the NFC. So we've been battle-tested against playoff teams. We just got punched in the mouth versus the Niners. No other way to explain it. Eagle fan said, I got to admit, Thibodeau has been good this year. He got 10.5 sacks. Shout out to him. Healthy Lifestyle said, look, the 49ers were better and out-coached us. It is what it is. We can't depend on those late games. We have to beat Dallas, fam. Enough said, then roll. You're right. Look, I'm talking about the late games to get some consistency, but right now, our sole focus should be on the Dallas Cowboys. That's it. Because you beat them, you kind of control your destiny. Well, you do control your destiny. But the games after them are a lot more lighter. You beat the Cowboys, it washes that ugly Niners taste out of our mouth. It's another team that is top of the food chain in the NFC. And it puts us feeling really good going into the last stretch. You got to beat the Cowboys. Simple and plain. Diddy said we played 3 games in 14 days. We were going to lose one of them 3. Another great point, and I've seen it all over Twitter. 3 games in 14 days. Normally, 3 games in 14 days, it's not the first game. It's not the second game. It's the last game of that, oh my goodness, we're going here, there, everywhere, playing all these teams in a small sample size. So look, the Niners are been talking trash. We ain't overlook them, but we were not ready. We got beat. Let me just say this. If the Eagles play the way they played against the Niners, we're not going to the Super Bowl. But I don't believe we're going to continue to play that way. Now, I do credit the Niners. They played great. But I'm with everybody in the chat saying, move on to Dallas. The funny thing is Cowboy fans are thinking the Eagles are sweet. And sometimes, the way Twitter works, the players be feeling the same way. So let the Cowboy fans and players think we're sweet. Let them look down on our 42-19 loss to the Niners. We don't see the Niners again into the playoffs, but we see the Cowboys in a couple days. This punch in the mouth had to wake up every Eagle staff member, player. It woke up Howie Roseman. I bet you as soon as we lost, he got back on the phone one more time like, Shaq, we need you. Hey, Zach, we want you. As the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles, the only thing he can do is add talent to this team. That's all he could do. He did his part. Now I need Nick, Ertz, AJ, Devontae, Slay, Bradbury, that front five, the linebackers, Desai, Johnson to do what they do. Simple. Everybody should be looking to do their best performance versus the Cowboys for multiple reasons. One, it's a divisional matchup. It's for first place. You're coming off your worst loss. Eagles in the last 2 years haven't lost 2 in a row. We taking out that upset, gut-wrenching loss on the next team we play. And the next team we play is the Cowboys. I've been live for 47 minutes. Shout out to the 600 people in the building. Do your boy a favor and hit that like button. It's free. It's easy. It don't cost a thing. And it's greatly appreciated. That like button goes a long way. Also, if you have that notification bell hit, you could be here early. We've been live for 47 minutes. We did break down a lot of the Pro Football Focus's coverage snaps. We went through James Bradbury, Big Play Slay, Nicholas Morrow, Eli Ricks, Reed Blankenship. We went through a lot of statistical stuff throughout that game early. So if you're just getting in here and you want to see what went down via coverage snaps, you can we rewatch this, but also just make sure you got that notification bell hit. And next time we go live, you'll be here with Notification Gang. Again, you can rewatch it. Let's see if we can get it to 300 likes before we get up out of here. Zack Ertz, possibly on the way. Shaq Leonard, already here. I'm going to talk about the Niners game one more time. Tomorrow morning's video is going to have a little baby recap of what I watched on the condensed version, some of the big takeaways from Bradbury, Desai, Fletch, Nick, Ertz, Jalen Carter situation. Then we going to flush that game. And on Wednesday morning, we're moving on. I wouldn't have been live right now if we didn't sign Shaq Leonard and have the possibility of signing Zack Ertz. I was going to come home, continue to watch the condensed version, get my Niners video out versus the Eagles, probably at 7 o'clock tonight or maybe tomorrow morning, but we had to do this first. With that being said, I appreciate everybody. You only need 39 more likes. I know y'all got that in you. It's free, it's easy, and I will catch you guys the rest of this week. One more day to talk. We move on, and it's all about the Eagles beating them Dallas Cowboys. It's as simple as that. Until next time, y'all know what time it is. We out.
This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike. Talking Sixers in the Bird Gang, that's our life. Competition, we ain't scared, yeah, that's what we like. Win or lose, you know we showing up and we gon' fight. You see we strive for the sky every day that go by. And every single week we screaming fly, Eagles fly. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah.